Mr. Beat presents Presidential Elections in American History.
The 60th presidential election in American history took place on November 5th, 2024. But then again, by that day, a record number of Americans had already voted early, either in person or by mail. Whoa, deja vu. Yeah, even though the federal public health emergency for COVID-19 expired on May 11th of 2023, absentee ballots and mail-in voting were still very popular. Speaking of COVID-19, even though Joe Biden helped in trying to stop the spread of the virus and even ended said national emergency, Americans still weren't all that happy with him. This was mainly due to him and his administration's decision to withdraw all US troops from Afghanistan on August 31st, 2021, leading to the infamous fall of Kabul. This ended the nearly 20-year war, which began as a response to the September 11th attacks on the World Trade Center by Al-Qaeda. During Biden's time as vice president under Barack Obama, the United States found and killed Al-Qaeda's leader, Osama bin Laden, but the war still carried out for another decade. Many wondered why we were still there, and the popularity of the war decreased tremendously. A quote from the president: "In April, I made the decision to end this war. As part of that decision, we set the date of August 31st for the American troops to withdraw. The assumption was that more than 300,000 Afghan national security forces that we had trained over the past 2 decades and equipped would be a strong adversary in their civil wars with the Taliban. That assumption, that the Afghan government would be able to hold on for a period of time beyond military drawdown, turned out to not be accurate. And boy was he right about that. The withdrawal turned out to be a major failure as the Biden administration prioritized the optics of the withdrawal rather than the security of the US personnel on the ground. For that reason, they failed to plan for all contingencies, including a non-combatant emergency evacuation, and refused to order one until after the Taliban had already entered Kabul. This decision destroyed Biden's approval ratings, sending him below 47%, and combined with the non-stop attacks on his age and mental state, that approval rating never reached above 43% for the rest of his time in office. This was one of, if not the main reasons, why Donald Trump surged in popularity. Again, repopularity? Who knows? People were seemingly forgetting what had happened just 4 years prior, when Donald Trump downplayed the severity of the coronavirus, as well as incited a crowd of his supporters to storm the Capitol building on January 6, 2021. Even when Trump became the first president in American history to be charged with a crime, 43 felonies to be exact, nothing really seemed to happen. This may have been due to the Supreme Court's 6-3 decision on July 1st, 2024, which in a sense freed presidents to use their official powers to engage in criminal acts substantially free of accountability. Nonetheless, many people still saw Trump as a threat to democracy, and the Democrats especially wanted to highlight that. But unfortunately for them, on June 27, 2024, a presidential debate between Biden and Trump was hosted on CNN. Biden's performance was widely criticized, with commentators noting that he frequently lost his train of thought and gave meandering answers, had a faltering appearance, spoke with a hoarse voice, and failed to recall statistics or coherently express his opinion on several occasions. This sent the Democratic Party into a panic, with many calling for him to drop out of the race, and some even calling for him to resign the presidency altogether. Biden refused, vowing that he was all in until the day he got out. Most Americans around this time were becoming more and more afraid of 4 more years of either candidate. And tragically, while all of this was happening, on July 13, 2024, at an open-air rally in Butler, Pennsylvania, Trump was shot and wounded in his upper ear by a 20-year-old man from Bethel Park named Thomas Matthew Crooks. Crooks fired 8 rounds from an AR-15 style rifle from the roof of a nearby building. During the attack, he killed one audience member, Corey Comparator, and critically injured 2 others. He was subsequently shot and killed by Secret Service counter-snipers. This incident was regarded as the most significant security failure by the Secret Service since the attempted assassination of President Ronald Reagan in 1981. Even more surprisingly, just over a week after the attempt on Trump's life, Joe Biden withdrew his candidacy of the 2024 race via a signed letter posted on his personal Twitter account, where he wrote that it was in the best interest of my party and the country, while stating that he would continue serving as president until the conclusion of his term. Biden was the first incumbent president since Lyndon B. Johnson in 1968 to withdraw from a re-election race, and the only president in American history to withdraw after already winning the primaries. This shifted things from a seemingly sure win for Trump to suddenly a tight 50-50 run, as Vice President Kamala Harris became the candidate of the Democrat Party, picking the governor of Minnesota, Tim Walz, as her running mate. I mean, technically the Democrats didn't have much of a choice besides Harris since their national convention was less than a month away, but I digress. Kamala Harris became the second woman in American history to be nominated for a presidential ticket after Hillary Clinton in 2016. And coincidentally, they both faced Trump, which is kind of interesting. Having to fill the shoes of a presidential candidate only 3.5 months before the election while trying to prove that you know what you're talking about is not a small task, believe me. But Harris actually seemed to have pulled it off, so much to the point where citizens got confused. Some people forgot that Joe Biden even existed, while others totally forgot that he had even dropped out of the race. It wasn't until the CBS debate between Harris and Trump on September 10th, 2024, where people could publicly hear what her intentions were, and many people, Democrats especially, held their breath. Thankfully, Harris didn't make a fool out of herself like people thought she may have. In fact, it was almost as if the opposite was true, as Trump made various wild claims that just weren't true, even wilder ones than normal. Going into the election, the polls were almost tied dead even in most states, with 7 of them being toss-ups. And here are the results. Aha, you buffoon! The election hasn't even happened yet. But it does happen tomorrow, as of the time that this video goes live. I can't wait for the Mr. Beat video about it early next year, because you know he's gonna bring bigger, better facts than however this will turn out to be. Who are you guys looking to vote for? It seems like a very close election right now, although that's all just polls, guessing. It could really be either way. It's really down to the Electoral College. Seeing the way that the popular vote is going, it's going to go one way where the electoral vote might go another way. Really just, we'll just have to wait and see. But yeah, what does Mr. Beat say at the end of these?
I'll see you for the next presidential election, buddy.
I'll see you for the next presidential election, buddy.